chapter 3.2 on your measurements. So, first in our discussion is your percentage. Your percentage is we often use percentage to describe quantitatively how a total is made up of its parts. Again, we often use percentages to describe quantitatively how a total is made up of its parts. In table 1.3, we describe the amounts of elements present in terms of the percentage of each element. Percentage can be treated as unit factors for any mixture containing substance A. So, part A mo, is this your babaw? Meaning, ginamultiply. Tanin sa dalom is parts per 100. So, 100 given sa dalom and that is your percent by mass. Check nyo na. This is your formula. It is your parts A or your parts A ang ginahatag sa problem over 100 for your mass. Sa imo nga mixture. So, if we say that a sample is 24.4 carbon by mass, we mean that out of every 100 parts exactly by mass of sample, 24.4 parts by mass are carbon. This relationship can be represented by whichever of the two units we find useful. It's either 24.4 over 100 parts of the sample or 100 parts of the sample over 24.4 parts of carbon. Depending on our problem, we can interchange our parts A over our mixture, kung ano ang given and kung ano ang kulang. So this ratio can be expressed in terms of grams of carbon for every 100 grams of your sample, pounds of carbon for every 100 pounds of your sample, or any other mass or weighting. The next example illustrates the use of your dimensional analysis involving your percentage. So first and foremost, you have your US pennies made since 1982 of 97.6% zinc and 24% copper. The mass of 3 particular penny is measured to be 1.494 grams. How many grams of zinc does this penny contain? So our plan for this is first, kitaon nyo, of course, ang given. When you are finding a given, you find the number of values in your problem. So first and foremost, ang natag sa aton, it is your 97.6% zinc and 24% copper. And the mass of your 3 particular penny is measured to be 1.494 grams. So ano ginapangita ganito sa aton? It is your zinc. Therefore, check your formula. It is your percent A by mass. Parts A over 100. So again, ang dalom natin is always the sample of 100. We are finding your parts A or your zinc. Your parts A is your zinc or kung ano ang ginapangita nila sa problem in your percentage, and that is how we divide it using our formula in your percentage. So pila ang aton values ng inyong nga parts A? It is 97.6% because we are finding zinc, not copper. So from the percentage information given, we may write the required unit factor of 97.6 grams of zinc over 100 grams of your sample. 97.6 over 100. Din niya naghalingkit ang 100. It is given in the formula. May 100 ka nga constant. Next, we have your solution. Paano ito na siya i-solve? Because we are finding your zinc in your percentage. In your zinc, you first write the sample. Ang sample naton, the mass of 3 particular penny is measured to be 1.494 and that is your sample. Therefore, carry over 1.494 grams of your sample. Your parts A, kaya ginapangita ta is zinc. Of course, it is 97.6 grams of zinc. Kaya by grams, kids mo, magabay ko mo grams, it is by mass. Diba? 97.6 grams of your zinc over 100 grams, which is a constant in your percentage in a given sample. Next, multiply lang simply ang tanan nga sa babaw, divide tanan nga sa dalom. 1.494 times 97.6 grams of zinc is equals to 1.494 times 97.6 is 145.81 divided by 100. 1.45.81 ang imong nga sabat, or you simply round it off 1.4581, or you simply round it off to 1.46 if you round it off to the nearest two decimal places. The number of significant figures in the result is limited by 3 significant figures in 97.6% because the definition of percentage involves exactly 100 parts. Ang mga ginahambak sa kids, your 100 grams in your sample is always a given in your formula because it is 100 parts per mixture. So, kay ginpangita tang zinc, therefore, 97.6% of your zinc is equivalent to 1.46 grams of zinc. And the number of 100 is known as an infinite number in your significant figures. Next, you have your density and specific gravity. So, in science, tapos na siya kids, ang inyo density and specific gravity. In science, we use many terms that involve the combination of different units. Such quantities may be thought of as unit factors that can be used to convert among these. Yes, the density of a sample of matter is defined as the mass per unit volume, or is equals to your density is equals to mass over volume, or D is equals to M over V, which D stands for density, M stands for mass, and V stands for velocity. Densities may be used to distinguish between two substances or to assist in identifying your particular substance. They are usually expressed by your G cm cube, or simply your grams per ml for liquids and solids, and as grams per liter naman if gases. These units can also be expressed as grams per centimeter cube, grams per ml, and grams per liter, respectively. Densities of several substances are listed in your table 1.8. Next, you have your example. Density, mass, and volume. A 47.3 ml sample of your ethyl alcohol or ethanol has a mass of 37.32 grams. What is its density? Kids, ano ganyan pangita and formula ta for your density? Your density is simply your mass over volume. Kids, do you think din aton mass? Of course, it is your grams. And your volume is ml kay litro gani kids. Milliliters, your ml is volume. Pwede yung ginabutang gani. Again, ang aton na ml or your milliliters sa kita sa aton tubig, which is liquid. Kita na sa aton nga Mountain Dew, sa aton nga other forms of liquid containers. Ang ilang unit of measurement for your volume isang liquid, it's liters, milliliters, and so on and so on. So plan, we use the definition of your density. Density, again, is equals to your mass over volume. So your mass, kids, is 37.32 grams. Over sa aton nga volume, which is 47.3 ml. Grams. So kids, ano lang na brown ta? Simply divide tanan nga sa nga ang aton nga mass over sa aton volume to find your density. Kids, so 37.32 divided by 47.3 is equals to 0.789. 0.789, or if ang balanta ko mo kids, round it off to 2 decimal places, is simply 0.79. 0.79. Anong nga unit, kids? May kapareho kung wala? Wala. Therefore, kaya kung kapareho, just copy the two units. And that will be your final answer. And here, we have your densities of your common substances nga table in which you can just get your densities in your grams per centimeter cube. First, you have your hydrogen, which has a 0.0000089 grams per centimeter cube. Your carbon dioxide, of which is 0.0019, and so on and so forth. So kids, kung may ara na sa inyong multiple choice questions sa quiz, you can simply opt to kwaon nyo lang di ang sabat. No need to solve na. But if pisan ka mo, solve nyo lang. Again kids, mas nami nga i-solve nyo para mabalaan nyo paano siya makuha ang ato na densities. And that is when we are dealing with densities. And next, now that you know that your density formula is mass over volume, how about if pangitaon naman natin kids ang ato na mass or ang volume natin? Using the given of density or volume. You have your formulas naman para hapos sa aton. Tandaan nyo lang kids, if we are dealing with mass, kaya siya ganit sa babaw, pangitanan ganit kids nga sa babaw, ginanot na ginamultiply. Of course, kaya ang ato na mass sa babaw, therefore, mass is equals to density times volume. And that is the formula for your mass. And when we are dealing with volume na naman, kids, what is the formula for your volume? Kaya dalom, ginadivide siya, ginamultiply. Of course, ginadivide siya. Kids, ginadivide siya, your formula for your your volume rather, is now mass. Tandaan yung mass formula sa babaw in your density, mass and volume over density. And that is your formula naman and you are dealing with volume. It is mass over density. Kung density ta, mass naman over volume. And when we are dealing with mass, simply multiply your density and volume. For example, kids, if 116 grams of ethanol is needed for a chemical reaction, what volume of liquid will you use? So kids, we determined that the density of ethanol is in 1.11 nga. Example, ethanol. Kita natin si ethanol. Ethanol is therefore 1.11. Sorry kids, it is in your densities of common substances. This is your example, 1.11. Kids, kita natin sa ethanol or your ethyl alcohol. Your ethyl alcohol, kids, its density is 0.789. In-solve naman siya 0.789 or simply round it off to 0.79. Not follow lang natin na yung table. And ang aton nga density for your ethyl alcohol or your ethanol is 0.789. So here we are given the mass of a sample of ethanol. So we know the values of ano ginato na bala ang value kids. Ang iya ni ethanol kag ang iya nga mass. Anong ginhatag sa aton? 116 grams of ethanol. Tapos ang iya nga density is 0.789. So we arrange this relationship to solve for your volume. Put in the known values and carry out the calculation. Alternatively, you can use the unit factor method to solve the problem. So here now that we have your grams of ethanol and your density, all we need to find is your volume of liquid. In what? In your ethanol. So how do we find your volume? Again, ang bawang sinsang babaw, again na, your volume formula is equals to mass over density. Again, your volume is equals to your mass over density. Ang ato na mass, which is given, is 116 grams of ethanol over ang aton gani nga ethyl alcohol or your ethanol 0.79. So now is equals to 116. Din ko nakuha sa 116 again sa problem. Ang aton nga density kids given man sa problem, which is sa table 0.789. Now that we have the given grams per ml, which is your density. Kaya again, ang units ng ating density is grams per ml. Ang aton nga mass is only grams. May like signs na wala. Of course, like signs and grams. Cancel all like signs before solving your equation. And 116 divided by 0.789 is equals to 147 ml. Kaya na-cancel na ang aton nga grams, which this leaves us with your ml, and that will be your final answer when finding your volume. Next, we have now, balaan nyo na kids kung paano mag-solve sa aton na density, mass, and volume. And now we will proceed to your specific gravity. A specific gravity of a substance is the ratio of its density to the density of water, both at the same temperature. The specific gravity is equals to your density of your substance over your density of your water. And simply, it tells us that you have a constant. Ang water, again, has a constant rate of 1.00 grams per ml. And your density of your substance is dependent on what you are given in a problem. For example, ang salt is sa problem 2.16. First, density of water, kids, is always 1.00 grams per ml at 3.98 degrees Celsius. The temperature at which the density of water is greatest. Variations in the density of water with changes in temperature, however, are small enough that we can use 1.00 grams per ml up to 25 degrees Celsius without introducing significant errors into our calculation. So how do we solve for your specific gravity? With the formula of the density of your substance over your density of water. Again, ang constant din isang water is always 1.00 grams per ml. Constant din siya, kids, when we are dealing with the density of water. Kids, in our example here, we solve for your specific gravity. The density table of table salt is 2.16 grams per ml at 20 degrees Celsius. What is its specific gravity? So, ano ginatag sa atin, kids? The density of your substance. So, in order to solve for your specific gravity, again, kids, the density of your substance, ano ding substance that? It is your table salt. Table salt pila? 2.16 grams per ml. Over. Ano kaya constant, kids, nga densities ang water? It is always 1.00 grams per ml. Cancel all like signs. Cancel. Now, 2.16 divided by 1 is still 2.16. Unlike no brackets specific gravity, we simply eliminated the units in order for your density to be converted into specific gravity, and that is how you solve the kids for your specific gravity. So now that we have learned how to solve your percentage, how to solve for your density, how to solve for your volume, how to solve for your mass, and how to solve your specific gravity. Paano na siya sir kung ginmix na ng ating specific gravity, volume, and percentage by mass in one problem. So kids, this is what you will need to do. First, we shall read the question thoroughly. Battery acid is 40% sulfuric acid, H2SO4, and 60% water by mass. Its specific gravity is 131. Calculate the mass of your H2SO4 and 100 ml of battery acid. Take note kids, 2 ni siya, 4 ni siya. Nagka-typo na ni Guru sa PDF. 2 ni, 4 ni. So first, what do we need to do? Basta on the kids ang plan. The percentages are given on a mass basis. So we must first convert to 100 ml of acid solution to mass. To do this, we need the value for your density. We have demonstrated that density and specific gravity are numerically equal at 20 degrees Celsius because density of water is 1.00 grams per ml. We can use the density as a unit factor to convert the given volume of the solution to mass of the solution. Then we use the percentage by mass to convert the mass of the solution to the mass of the acid. So first thing we need to do, kids, is to check your plan. What do we need to do when solving for specific gravity, volume, and percentage by mass? The percentages are given on a mass basis. So we must first convert the 100 ml of acid solution to mass. To do this, we need to find the value for the density. So we have demonstrated that density and specific gravity are always numerically equal at 20 degrees Celsius because the density of water is a constant of 1. Kaya again, kids, pareho lang gid na i-affirm natin specific gravity and density. Ano lang kinalain? Si specific gravity, kids, wala sang unit. Ato niya nga density, may grams per ml unit. Aman ang purpose nga gina-cancel siya when converting to specific gravity. Next, we can use the density as a unit factor and then convert the given volume of the solution to mass of the solution. Then we use the percentage by mass to convert the mass of the solution to the mass of the acid. So again, ano natin brahon? Find the density. We need the value for the density. Naakilang na natin kids ang ating density. Because kids, ang ating density, man siyang gamitan natin to find the volume of your substance, and that substance is needed to find the percentage by mass of your solution to find the mass of your acid. The first and foremost, first step, ano brown ta? You need to find the density of your H2SO4. So your density from the given value for your specific gravity, pila? Is 1.31 grams per ml. Ang iya nga density. Nga kids, kaya ang iya ginhatag kids, specific gravity is 1.31 diri. 1.31. Kids, ang 1.31 nga na, ang specific gravity, ano gani ang balik sa inyo kids, it is numerically equal to your, it is numerically equal kids, ang yung specific gravity kag inyong density. Kay specific gravity ginatag, simply add grams per ml, and it is now your density. Next. Now that we have found your density, kids, the solution is now 40% H2SO4 and 60% H2O by mass. From this information, we may construct the desired unit factor into, kaya lang inapangita natin kids, calculate the mass of your H2SO4 in 100 ml. So therefore, ano calculate H2SO4 or ang H2O? Of course, ang H2SO4 kaya mo ginapangita. That is now your substance A. Ano siya? Is your parts A in your substance. So, pila ang ato na H2SO4 in your 100% na solution? Ang H2SO4 naton 40%. 40% when converting it into grams, ano unit niya? 40% is now 40 grams of your sulfuric acid or H2SO4. Over, ano ganyan? Mag-convert ta sa inyong percentage. It always has a constant, basta percentage kids, of 100. Because 100 grams of your solution contains 40 grams of your H2SO4. We can now solve the problem in this formula. Because we have your density and we have your percentage. Kids, ang aton nga density, 1.31 of your gram solution over 1 ml of your solution times 40, din ko na ko ang 40 din naman, over 100, constant niya again, constant, and this is constant. Now, we can now solve the problem. 100 times 131, 1.31 times 40.0. Sorry kids, nagsala ni Goro sa type na kon. 1.31. Simply kids, tanan tang obrahon din when solving is just multiply tanan anay sa babaw, then divide tanan nga arap sa dal. 100 times 1.31 grams of your solution times 40 divided by 1 divided by 100. You now have 52.4 grams. Galing kids, is that the final answer? No. Because makancel kita sang all like signs. You have your solution. You have your solution. Cancel tanan ng all like signs. Ano bilin ng unit? It is your sulfuric acid or your H2SO4. And that is how you solve for your specific gravity, volume, and percentage by mass. Kung kagamodi kids or medyo kids, gasala ka mo kay wala ko, asynchronous class lang ni, kids don't worry, madiscuss man tani gyapon when we meet. Next is your heat and temperature. Kids, heat and temperature naman kita. The concept of temperature may seem familiar to you, but many people confuse temperature with heat. Kaya again, lain si temperature kay heat. Because temperature is a measure of how hot or cold an object is relative to another object, whereas heat is the flow of thermal energy between objects with different temperatures. When we touch a hot object, energy flows from the hot object into our fingers, and we perceive the incoming energy as being hot. Conversely, when we hold an ice cube in our palms, energy flows from our hand into the ice cube. We perceive that loss of energy as cold. In both cases, the temperature of the object is different from the temperature of our hand. So we can conclude differences in temperature are the ultimate cause of heat transfer. So again, kung maghambal kita nga temperature, kids, it is a measure kung ano ka lamig or kano kainit ang object in a relative to another object. When compared ba na kids, kung ginkumparar siya into another object. Then, mas init kids ang malabaab na tubig or ang ice. Siyempre, ang malabaab na tubig. Therefore, you have a comparison when we are talking about your temperature. While heat na naman niya is the flow, kids, of thermal energy between objects with different temperature. It is a flow of your thermal energy, while your temperature is just a measure of how hot or cold an object is. And that is the difference of your heat and temperature. Kung maghambal kita kids, na flow sa thermal energy, ano siya? Heat. Maghambal kita a measure of how hot or cold. An object is compared to another object or relative to another object. It is temperature. Next, we have your temperature scales. Temperature is a measure of the average amount of energy of motion or kinetic energy a system contains. Temperature are expressed using scales that are units called degrees. These are three scales used for reporting temperatures. Look at your figure 7.2.1. Compare the three temperature scales, scale in siya. We have your Fahrenheit, your Celsius, and your Kelvin. Thermometers measure temperature by using materials and expand or contract when heated or cooled. Mercury or alcohol thermometers, for example, have a reservoir of liquid that expands when heated and contracts when cooled. So, the liquid column lengthens or shortens as the temperature of the liquid changes. Okay, let's look at the picture in your figure 7.2.1. You have the three different temperature scales. You have your Fahrenheit, you have your Celsius, and your Kelvin. Have you seen their absolute zero, kids? Lain ang ila value. Have you seen kung di nagabukal nila tubig ang earth nila pinakababaw? Lain man ang ilang value because they are different kinds of units. Different countries, kids, uses different temperature scales depende kung ano nasawaan sa tao. But kids, all of these are just only equal. 212 degrees Fahrenheit is equal to 100 degrees Celsius and 373 Kelvin is also equal to 212 degrees Fahrenheit and 100 degrees Celsius. Equal lang sila. They are just used in different countries. Therefore, we have three different temperature scales. So, Fahrenheit, Celsius, and Kelvin temperatures, a comparison of the three temperature scales. These thermometers have a red-colored liquid which contains alcohol and food coloring. Silver-looking thermometers contain your mercury, which is a neurotoxin. Pinapakapot sa bata because your mercury is a toxic element or a toxic byproduct in humans. In the United States, the commonly used temperature scale, for example, United States ginagamit nila, is your Fahrenheit scale. On this scale, the freezing point of your liquid water, at which liquid turns into solid ice, is 32 degrees Fahrenheit. The freeze na ang ating tubig. And the boiling point of water naman niya is 212 degrees Fahrenheit. The boiling point of water niya. The scale is divided into 100 divisions between these two landmarks and extended higher or lower as well. By comparing the Fahrenheit and Celsius scale, a conversion between the two scales can be determined. So, kung Celsius na kids, ang ginapangita you are given the Fahrenheit, simply minus your Fahrenheit, multiply it by 1 and divide it by 1. When we are finding your Celsius and we are given the Fahrenheit in your problem. But if we are given the Celsius and we are finding your Fahrenheit, simply, kids, multiply your Celsius by 1.8, divide by 1.0, and add 32, your PEMDAS rule. Note that the science uses the Celsius and Kelvin scales almost exclusively. Virtually no practicing chemist expresses laboratory measured temperatures with the Fahrenheit scale. O muna ginagamit nila yung kids is your Celsius and Kelvin in your chemistry class because it is the globally known scale that is used in science. People driving near the borders of Canada and Mexico may pick up local radio stations on the other side of the border that express the daily weather in degrees Celsius, so do not get confused by their weather report. So first and foremost, kids, amo naman siya ang conversion. You have your Celsius to Fahrenheit and Fahrenheit to Celsius. Masapos pag ito siya, kids, ang Kelvin, which I will teach in a while. Kaya may example na kita. Kids, look at your letter A. What is 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit in Celsius? Kids, we are given the Fahrenheit. We are finding your Celsius. Gamiton ko ini or ini. Inhatag si Fahrenheit. Therefore, we are finding your Celsius. We will use the formula for your Celsius. Celsius, kids, is simply equal to, ano ginhatag? 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. Check taliwat ang aton na formula. Minus, ano na kabatang din? 98.86 minus 32 times 1.0 degrees Celsius over 1.8 degrees Fahrenheit. Degrees Fahrenheit na siya. Take note, kids. First and foremost, 98.6 minus 32 is equals to 9 minus 3 is 6. 8 minus 2 is 66.6. Kids, unang tatanan nga parenthesis y because of your previous rule, of course. 66.6 times 1 degrees Fahrenheit, kids, ha? Yeah, unit. Degrees Celsius over 1.8 degrees Fahrenheit. Kids, may kapareho nga sign? Wala. Yes, of course, of Fahrenheit. We are finding your Celsius. Dapat ang mabilin lang is your Celsius. 66 times 1.0 is 66 divided by 1.8 is now, pila? 37. Try in your calculator, kids, para mag-gets nyo. 37.0 degrees Celsius. And that will be how you convert your Fahrenheit into Celsius. And look at question number 2. In your question number 2 naman, kids, what is 25 degrees Celsius in degrees Fahrenheit? We are finding naman your Fahrenheit. Ano ginhatag sa aton? Si Celsius. Therefore, we can use formula number 2, which is, ari naman. Kids, we are given the Celsius and we are finding your Fahrenheit. Baliktad lang ni kagina. Una naman, sa aton na parenthesis, ang aton nga multiply and divide. 25 times 1.8 divided by 1 is simply 45. 45 plus 32 is equals to 77 degrees Fahrenheit. Gin-cancel ko, kay pareho na siya. Patanaw ko sa inyo. 25 degrees Celsius. Araw, nahatag si Celsius. Therefore, your unit is always a given of Celsius. Cancel all left sides. Ano bilhin? Fahrenheit. Therefore, 77.0 degrees Fahrenheit. The fundamental unit of temperature is, again, kids, the fundamental unit of your temperature is the Kelvin. Kids, the fundamental unit of your temperature is Kelvin. The Kelvin temperature scale, note that the name of the scale capitalizes the word Kelvin, but the unit itself is a lowercase. Uses degrees are the same size as the Celsius degree. But the numerical scale is shifted up to 273.8. That is the conversion between the Kelvin and Celsius scale as follows. So kids, again, tandaan nyo, fundamental unit of your temperature in your system internationale is your Kelvin. So your Kelvin naman, kids, ano formula yan? Your Kelvin is simply your Celsius plus 273.15 or simply 273. Yan mo sa ulo. Muna na, Kelvin is now equals to your Celsius plus 273. 273 is always constant, kids, when we are finding your Kelvin and you are given the Celsius. So let us look at your example in room temperature or your Kelvin scale. If the normal room temperature is 72 degrees Fahrenheit, what is the room temperature in degrees per Celsius and Kelvin? So kids, in your Kelvin, we have your formula 3, which is Celsius plus 273. Kids, please look at it. Fahrenheit kinhatag sa aton. Pwede ito na magamit, sir? No. Because we cannot use this, we need to convert your Fahrenheit into Celsius first and foremost. Pag convert din natin, it is simply following your Formula 1. Number 1 natin mo formula, which is equals to your Fahrenheit minus 32 times 1 divided by 1.8. 72 minus 32 is equals to 40. 40 times 1 is equals to 40 times 1.8 is equals to 22.2. Now that we have found your degrees Celsius, kids, we need to find the final answer, which is your Kelvin. Kelvin na naman, kids, now that we have found the equivalent of your 22 degrees Fahrenheit into Celsius, we just simply need to add 273 into our answer. 22.2 plus 273.15 is now equals to 295.4 Kelvin, and that is the room temperature. So these three different scales are commonly used to measure temperature in your Fahrenheit, Celsius, and Kelvin. Again, the fundamental unit in your SI is your Kelvin. But we have three temperature scales, which is your Celsius, Fahrenheit, and Kelvin. Thermometers measure the temperature by using materials that expand or contract when heated or cooled. Mercury or alcohol thermometers, for example, have a reservoir of liquid that expands when heated and contract when cooled. Go to the liquid column and lengthen shortens as the temperature of the liquid changes. Next, you have Daniel Gabriel Fahrenheit. He is a German instrument maker, pioneer of your exact thermometry. He helped lay the foundations for the era of precision thermometry by inventing mercury in glass thermometer. And your Fahrenheit scale, standardization of your temperature scale. So, sino ni siya ang nagpasilitanan? It is Daniel Gabriel Fahrenheit. Next, you have your under Celsius. Siya naman yung nag-bracket sa ating Celsius because last time we get Celsius, kuha. He developed your Celsius temperature scale. Kung sa Fahrenheit, kids, we are talking about he invented mercury in glass and thermometer. And sa Fahrenheit scale, siya extender, it is Daniel Gabriel Fahrenheit. And next, we have William Thomson and first Baron Kelvin. Was a British mathematical physicist and an engineer born in Belfast. Absolute temperatures are stated in units of Kelvin in his honor. Right? While the existence of a lower limit and the temperature absolute zero was known prior to his work, Kelvin is known for determining its correct value as approximately. Sino na silang discover? It is William Thomson and first Baron Kelvin. And next time we will discuss your heat transfer, kids. And that will be all for our lesson for today. Thank you very much, kids, and have a good day. God bless.